The Good Ride, sucking less every year for over 10 years.
Oh, you feel so little. The psychedelic drugs, Jones. I mean, the Ultra Mind Expander. I mean, your first philosophy class in college.
From cornice to couch, from
And a little bit,
from the hills to home.
The Ultra Mega Mind Expander. This thing is amazing. It's a lot of fun. I'm kind of torn between this and the flagship. I think this is a more turny, slashy, surfy flagship. You know, but the Mind Expander,
It's so much more directional.
Literally, I hate to use this word, but it literally blew our mind in powder.
Okay, the regular Mind Expander is when you compare every single powder board in the entire world, it's over here.
Yeah.
It's in a completely different world.
You know, we use this a lot because we're old, but it's a Spinal Tap 11.
It's when you turn it up to 11,
Yeah.
it has created an entire new category that there's only one other board company, which is a Spring Break Capita, that even goes into that category.
In our little adventures, you know,
Yeah.
there are a lot of like companies that market pure powder boards, but those two for their own thing. I think the Mind Expander for its excessive rocker and it's super fast bass. Does, like, I was out in the deepest of deep on my 158 Mind Expander, like tits deep, and yeah, it was like put some tape on there. Not because you're carving.
Cotton balls and then tape.
Yeah, not because you're, well, and then can you even put something before the tape so you don't rip off all the hair?
A bunch of Vaseline jelly, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never
Everyone knows you put Vaseline jelly and then you put the cotton ball and then you put regular Scotch tape over it. Everyone knows that.
I didn't. Here we go. But anyways, so this is like our car drive. Are you fucking serious? You didn't know you put Vaseline jelly over your nipples? That's our car drive.
Yeah.
And we've driven around the country multiple times. But that 158 tits deep was amazing. I mean, I literally felt like I could handle more powder.
Yeah.
And we were riding Spring Breaks, the Spring Break powder glider that day. That could handle more powder too. They're just like next level in their own way. The powder glider was just on the it was just sitting on the top. But this thing is not the powder board that those are.
It brings it back down to that groomer.
But, man,
it brings it back down to that.
It's still not
accessible
a bad powder
level.
board. Still not a bad powder board.
An amazing
not
powder board.
Not a bad powder board. Not a bad powder board. Not a bad powder board. Yeah.
No, it's an amazing powder board.
It's
an amazing powder board.
Today, in the thick, ugly, crusty nastiness, with a base that wasn't waxed, I don't think. Was it?
Yep. We waxed it.
It looks like, well, no, we just did some rub on before this.
Rub on wax. Good enough.
But I think it came to us factory waxed. And for it to be factory waxed and to ride like that, the glide with this base was unreal.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put my foot here. Oh, I'm gonna take my foot away. And this Ultra Mind Expander really brings more of the daily driver to the Mind Expander line. I just love this slashy, surfy, kind of Christensen signature kind of stuff. And I just gotta say, I love the fact that it can carve. I love the fact that it can ride powder pretty well. Like, upper tier well, like really fucking well.
Upper tier.
Yeah, but if you want to ride like slashy, surfy, you want the Mind Expander.
Listen, what this board does very well was it hits magna cum laude. It hits a top 10% of like powder riding experience, and it also, when I'm hitting just like super chundery, uneven snow, it doesn't bat an eye in its stability. And then when I get into deep carving, just like perfect groomers, it still is very, very capable. Not only very capable, but actually proficient.
You know, I don't always like the stiff flex, but today in this fucking just horrible powder we had,
Yeah.
it's about the bottom barrel of, like, look, it's still powder. It's like pizza. You know, it's like sex. It's still sex. But it was like the bottom barrel of it, you know?
Dude, I launched off some pretty big, like, little, like, side booters and landed them into very, very, very chundery, just uneven, terrible powder landings, and just had no problem riding out.
Yeah.
And had people
When
hooting.
when I was going
had people
home-
hooting on the chairlift.
It's just rare for us. People don't hoot for us.
Very, very
People
rare.
don't hoot for us on
People
the snow.
almost never hoot. People almost
They-
always look at me and they go like, "Hey, almost anyone could do better." And
But they hoot for us. Here.
Yep. Way to eat half that bite.
That
Way
was
to eat half
amazing.
that bite. Anyways,
What?
I freaking love this board. And I said it in my last review, and I'm going to say it again in this review. I love this board so much. I think this is, if I were to get one board, I would get this over the Mind
Really?
Expander.
Oh yeah, but
As a
see,
more
I've
universal
mixed, I have
board.
mixed emotions about this.
It's not
I feel like
nearly
the
as good
stiff
as...
flex is. No, go. What were you gonna say?
It's not nearly as good as the Mind Expander in perfect powder, but it is absolutely better.
But what about
every
those
single
guys who are
situation.
like saying like, "Hey, I'm thinking about a 164 flagship or a 158 Ultra Mind Expander." That's where I have mixed emotions.
Fuck off! You're asking too much out of the world. You're asking too much. That's just being like, you know what I want? I want the perfect girl.
You
with-
good readers. I know you asked me these questions.
Yeah, I want.
And Peter.
I want
What do you
someone.
want to tell these people who are asking me for advice?
I
You're
want.
asking for too much.
I want someone with humor and a great ass. You can't get both. You can't. You just can't. All right. Get one or the other. All right.
The irony of life. The irony of life. There are just
You can
too
get
many different things that have to happen.
You can get a little bit of both. And the Ultra Mind Expander.
Yeah, I think it's a good board. Today at the end of the day,
It's definitely very specialized, though.
yeah, it's specialized.
It's definitely not for everyone.
Yeah, so at the end of the day today, you know, when we rode all those boards and I was like, I'm done, I'm going home. You're like, I'm staying, I'm getting my last day in before I bail. I was like, take this. And I was like, this is the, like, because I was, like, we had tried all our boards we were doing the sampler with that day. And this was like, I was like, oh my God, this thing was amazing. In the conditions we rode that day.
And you guys will never ever see any of this footage because any time that I ever ride well,
He rides away from me.
it can never be captured. Because
He's like that fucking...
I'm pretty sure the frames per second cannot see how well I ride.
You know what Peter is? He's like that Warner Brothers frog. Remember that frog that was like, hello, my baby, hello, my darling,
Yeah,
hello,
I'm
my right
exactly
tongue,
like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
And then the minute the guy takes the frog to public, at least you still have the gift of gab.